EC opens nominations for election 2020 online. Presidential candidates to pay 100,000 Ghana cedis and MPs 10,000 Ghana cedis. Kennedy Ajapong fails to appear before court. Another summons issued for him to appear on Friday. BECE takes off smoothly nationwide, and 3 nursing mothers and 2 pregnant girls are among the candidates writing exams. Ahafo chiefs praise government for solid waste plant.
The Daily Guide says 2016 bribe question jolted me. Nana gives boost to sanitation firms. EC announces 100,000 cedis for presidential aspirants. That's their fee there. MPP dangles fiscal records, and high-tech lottery gang nabbed.
Wow.
The Chronicle, Nanado is bold and decisive. You can't compare Mahama to him, says the NPP. We will hunt for robbers and retrieve our guns. This coming from the police, policemen who were injured in that robbery in Kumasi. And farmers accuse Coins Estate Limited of seizing their lands. Also, desperate Mahama is a waste of time.
The Daily Statesman says, we can't go back. MPP says Akufo-Addo's decisive leadership is moving Ghana forward. You can't ban me from your land. Mahama calls the bluff of angry Achims, and Akufo-Addo says, let's not take our stability for granted.
The New Crusading Guide, we won't tolerate violence in 2020 elections. And High Court chases Kennedy Ajapong, ordered to appear in court on September 18th. And Akufo-Addo applauds Jospong as he pledges support for private sector.
The BNFT says Citi outperforms its peers despite impact of COVID-19. Ahafo chiefs people praise government for solid waste plant. GRA contemplates incentives for filing tax returns online and city stability to continue till the end of 2020.
The Finder, free, fair elections, bedrock for strengthening national cohesion, says President Akufo-Addo. GRA outlines plans to achieve 47.2 billion Ghana cedi pre-COVID-19 target. Ghana sunk under Mahama but is on a growth path under Akufo-Addo, says the MPP. Dr. Baumia and Methodist Church and others mourn Reverend Dr. Asante Nchi, and BC kicks off smoothly.
Let me take you online. CitiNewsroom.com is a war of words over who's more credible. Akufo-Addo has more credibility than Mahama, according to Mustafa Hamid. But Otokuno says Mahama is credible. Treat MPP's claim with contempt. Also, Dumsa will be back if Mahama wins 2020. This is Mustafa Hamid. And then my NDC says we will abolish double track system within 2 years if elected, Professor Alabi. So basically, people are just talking. Police block ASEPA group from demonstrating over a Japa deal, and Mahama will ensure transparency in premix distribution, according to Mutawakilu. Now, CitiBusinessNews.com, Cocoa Board bemoans hoarding of cocoa beans in anticipation of price increase. Meanwhile, reduction of talk tax from 9 to 5% takes effect today, and GRA optimistic of meeting 42 billion target despite missing half-year target. MyJournalline.com, presidential candidates to pay 100,000 cedis as filing fee for EC 2020. My principles have sustained me thus far, according to Rawlings. And if you can't raise 100K, get out. Obribwahim backs EC's 100K filing fee for presidential aspirants. Meanwhile, men's gold cannot be included in government's bailout fund. This is the SEC. If you go to Star News, don't take the comfort and Akufo-Addo for granted. MPP to Ghanaians. Also, national security operatives brutalize estate developer Adodowa, and you will be next VIP Wasafi Queen Mother to Nana Jane Opoku Ajeman. If you go to Ghana News Agency, 2020 elections candidates to file nominations in 5 days. Also, court adjourns Kennedy Ajapong contempt case to September 18, and some 1,302 students begin BC in Karachi East. And if you go to BBC, Trump fans flames of climate row in California as the fires rage on. Okay, guys.
If you go to the Daily Graphic, let's start with some election news. The elections are 83 days away. And for those who want to be president, you need to have deep pockets. Why? Because the EC has now opened nominations for presidential and parliamentary aspirants for the December 7 election. The commission has also fixed the filing fee for presidential aspirants at 100,000 Ghana cedis, and that of parliamentary aspirants at 10,000 Ghana cedis. The figure for the presidential aspirants is a 100% increase over the 2016 filing fee, while that of the parliamentary aspirants did not see any change. Now, all this got revealed by the EC chairperson, Mrs. Jean Mensah, at the Let the Citizens Know series in Accra yesterday.
Justifying the move, Mr. Bosman Asari, Dr. Bosman Asari said the reason was that there had been some depreciation in the currency. So if they maintain the amount for the presidential for 2016, that would be lower. And he actually says that by keeping the 10,000 for MPs, it meant that they had actually reduced it. That's interesting because today we are reading about the currency and its strength. It's one of the front page stories in the BNF. So there's a connection there. But let's just some reactions to this. So for example, people interviewed Nana Obri-Buahin says if you can't raise 100K, get out. This is the deputy General Secretary of the governing MPP, Nana Obri-Buahin, has welcomed the EC's decision to peg the filing fee for presidential aspirants at 100,000 Ghana cedis. He argued that a party that cannot raise that amount has no business participating in the upcoming polls. He was speaking on Joy FM's Top Story while expressing his view as a member of the party. So that's the first big story this morning. Then there's a lot of things about who's more credible and all of this. But let me come to you in the Times.
In the Times. So the Times also highlights the EC story, and they also talk about the fact that they're ensuring security and integrity of the process by giving each party, as well as independent candidates, a unique password to protect them, because this is online now.
Nice.
So the EC website is also going to have a manual for completing the forms.
Oh, so they won't come with all the supporters to the EC headquarters and those things?
Well, I guess COVID-19, they want to be safe about that. So they're going to have a manual for completion of the forms and emergency contacts in case challenges are encountered in filling the forms. But let's go back to your massing up at the office. Presidential candidates are to submit their completed forms to her at the EC head office. The parliamentary candidates are going to submit to the returning officer of the constituency at the EC district offices, but they can print them online and all that stuff.
There's a lot of talk about who's more credible, and really it's more like one person makes a claim, another person debunks that. So I wanted you to stay with the graphic and tell me what else is big there, or the Times for that matter, because for example, Nanado and Baumia and all those people are traveling around. So what can you say?
Okay, well, let's go to the Chronicle. The Times has some interesting stories, but unrelated to this, so we'll come back to that. But Nana Addo is bold and decisive. You can't compare him to NPP. And then Desperate Mahama is a waste of time. Sorry, you can't compare him, it says the NPP. So those are stories in the Chronicle. The New Patriotic Party has urged Ghanaians to vote for President Akufo-Addo come December 7th for another 4-year term because he's decisive. The party says there was no measure of doubt the boldness of President Akufo-Addo in taking strong decisions as a leader, as opposed to former President Mahama. Addressing a press conference yesterday in Accra, the deputy campaign manager for the MPP 2020 elections, Dr. Mustafa Hamid, said only bold and decisive leaders could change the fortunes of a nation in a ditch, as Akufo-Addo had done. Quote, "The point I'm making is that it takes bold, decisive and visionary leadership to turn around the fortunes of a country whose economy was in a ditch," he remarked. He's also the Minister for Inner City and Zongo Development, and he reminded Ghanaians that this MPP government came into office at a time when another government had thrown its hands up in despair.
Well, in straight reaction, Mahama is credible. Treat MPP's claim with contempt. Peter Boa Motokono, then DC Deputy General Secretary, has reacted to this on Eyewitness News. He says President Mahama thought his record of public service has shown beyond reasonable doubt that he is a man of his word, and when push comes to shove, he is able to stand by his word. He is honest and truthful to the people of Ghana, and therefore if Ghanaians are looking for a leader of trust and an honest person, they should choose him.
If you go to the Daily Statesman, it says Mahama calls bluff of angry Achims. So the NDC's flag bearer, John Mahama, has called the bluff of the chiefs and people of Achimang over the recent ultimatum to retract and apologize for his Sakawa insult. The chiefs and people of Achim Ebuakwa, Achim Kutuku, and Achim Busumi last week demonstrated against the former president and gave him a 72-hour ultimatum to withdraw the comments he posted on his Facebook wall. But the president was speaking on Class FM yesterday, and he said, quote, "Nobody bans anyone from going anywhere. We shouldn't be there. Or we shouldn't go there, because if other people said they were banning other people, what kind of country were we going to have? I have not said anything. I have not abused Achim people. Like I said, there are many Achim people in my party. Why would I say anything insulting to them?" End quote.
Okay. All right. Staying with politics, Kennedy Japong fails to appear before court. Another summons issued for him to appear on Friday. The Accra High Court yesterday issued another summons in the nature of a substituted service on the Member of Parliament, the MP for Asin Central, Kennedy Ohene Ejapong, to appear before the court to explain why he should not be punished for denigrating a justice of the High Court. On September 2nd, the MP allegedly insulted Justice Amos Wuntawuni, who presided over a land litigation case involving Mr. Ejapong on Net2 television. This caused a summons signed by Justice Wuni on September 9th to be served on the lawmaker to appear in court to show cause why he should not be severely punished for contempt of court. On the TV station, the visibly angry politician said, "You are a stupid judge. I will face you." And he stressed, "I am not an ass to take a bribe from you. I will deal with you." 5 days later, he issued a letter of apology to the Chief Justice, judges, and magistrates for his action, explaining that he was furious over the actions of the judge in the land litigation case involving him.
Very interesting. Now, Cocoa Board is in the news. So yesterday we reported that they had planned to raise the farm gate price of cocoa, or the pay they give cocoa farmers by 21%, with the premium surcharge they wanted to impose on cocoa buyers. Now, there are two stories on Citi Business News that are of interest. Cocoa Board likely to announce 21% increase in farm gate price. That could be a say story. Then there's a related one. The same organization to be mourning hoarding of cocoa beans in anticipation of the price increase. So it's a related story. So let me just take the first one. It says, so the Ghana Cocoa Board is expected to increase or announce a 21% increase in the farm gate price of cocoa for the upcoming crop season. Now, this is the price they pay to farmers for their beans. If the price increase takes effect, cocoa farmers will then be receiving 625 Ghana cedis, or $108 per 64 kilogram bag, or 10,000 Ghana cedis per ton for the harvest season that begins October 1 and continues through September next year. Now, the farm gate price were last increased by 8% last crop season, leading to a bag of cocoa being sold at 515. So it's going to go up to 600 and 625. Now, here's the problem. The farmers are hoarding the beans. So the story now says the Cocoa Board has described as troubling the hoarding of cocoa beans by some cocoa farmers in anticipation of an increase in the farm gate price. In an interview with Citi Business News, communication manager of Cocoa Board, Fifi Boafo, urged farmers to release their beans to prevent the creation of an artificial shortage in the system. It's a bit of a worry to us as Cocoa Board and to us as a country where we have farmers knowing very well the coming in of the living income differential. This is something positive. So they are hoarding the cocoa and they are not releasing the beans. We have targets to meet. We have cocoa to sell to our partners and the trade houses as well as processors. So basically, farmers release the beans. We'll talk more about cocoa later this morning.
Okay. Education.
Yes.
All right, the BEC, we know they've started. The BEC takes off smoothly nationwide. 3 nursing mothers and 2 pregnant girls are among the candidates writing the exams. So about 531,705 students from 17,440 public and private basic schools yesterday began the 2020 Basic Education Certificate Examination, the BECE, across the country. According to WAEC, it includes 269,419 males and 262,286 females. The exercise is expected to end on Friday, September 18th, with strict adherence to all COVID-19 protocols by the students and all stakeholders. Veronica buckets were placed at vantage points to ensure all candidates wash their hands under running water before entering the exam halls. The students were also provided with nose masks, hand sanitizer placed on each tank for every student. So it goes on to give more information about what the students are going through right now.
Well, let's get to the 12th page of the Daily Guide. So from examination of students to examination of crime scenes. Now, the crime scene management experts of the from the Accra Regional Police Command and headquarters have moved to the Adjungan residence of the slain University of Ghana law lecturer to conduct a reconstruction of the sad incident. With the state-of-the-art resources deployed, the technical team made up of forensic experts, criminologists, and crime scene experts are trying to elicit materials of evidential value that will aid in their investigations into the gruesome killing of Professor Emmanuel Yalbene over the weekend. Now, according to a police source, they are targeting evidence that will match the pathological examination of the body to enable them get to the bottom of the matter.
Okay, we pray we get to that. Now, the VNFT front page is talking about the Citi.
Yes, that story is also in the Daily Graphic. for those who don't get the BNFT. And it says that the cedi has been performing well. And has performed better than a number of currencies across the African continent in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic.
Okay.
Now, this was reported in the August 2020 flash note of the African Markets Revealed report released by the Standard Bank.
Okay.
According to the report, the performance of the local currency can be attributed to a combination of a diversified export base and reduced import activity, among others.
Nice one.
Here's a quote. The Ghana cedi has held relatively firm this year compared to a number of its African peers amidst significant capital outflows occasioned by the pandemic.
All right.
A combination of a fairly well diversified export base, robust forex reserves, and reduced trade and import activity seems to have supported the currency, end quote.
That's good news. We hope that's sustained.
Yeah, speaking of money, on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, liquidator to give update on bailout.
Nice.
The official liquidator of the 53 defunct fund management companies, Jemima Owari, will today commence a 2-day virtual meeting with investors of some of the companies. The meeting, according to a notice issued by the liquidator in Accra yesterday, was to provide an update on the government's bailout plan for creditors who qualify as investors of the asset management companies and are under the regulatory remit of the Securities and Exchange Commission. The links to the meetings will be delivered to all investors via text message, and it goes on to list the companies there. It will be called earlier this month. The official liquidator met all creditors of the companies virtually for 5 days as part of the liquidation process. Remember, she was here in studio talking.
Meanwhile, men's gold cannot be included in government's bailout fund. This is the SEC. Story on my journal line. The Security and Exchange Commission has rejected the Coalition of Agreed Customers of Men's Gold Ghana (CACAM) request to be included in the government bailout package established to pay locked up funds of depositors of collapsed financial companies. In a reply dated September 9, the Commission emphatically mentions that members of the coalition cannot be included in the bailout fund because, quote, the target of the bailout is clearly defined and does not cover men's gold customers. Now, the SEC is implementing the bailout package for the mid-year review of the budget statement and supplementary estimates for 2020 financial year and give some further details. Now, the letter was assented to by the DG of SEC, Reverend Daniel Ogbami Tete, and addressed to the chairman of the coalition, Mr. Isaac Nyaku, and further explains that Men's Gold was not an asset management company under SEC's regulation. Now, speaking of Men's Gold, there's another story here. Men's Gold CEO announces new venture. CEO of Men's Gold, Nana Apia Mensah, aka number one, has announced a new venture, Zallywood, a real estate business. Now, I kid you not, this is my journal line, a real estate business. Now, the businessman wrote on his official Twitter page that he has secured over 4,000 plots of land intended to site a new smart city for his clients. In the said tweet, Mr. Pierre stated that 500 residential plots of land have been reserved for Men's Good customers affected by the company's shutdown in 2018. Now, Zallywood is also known as Xylophone Hills. It's to be located at Kasua. Now, in an attached video, he suggests that the Zallywood will house a sports stadium, shopping malls, a business complex, a gymnasium, cinema, recording studios, etc. Do you remember a few years ago we had what's the name of that?
Hope City.
Yeah, so and Xylophone Hills, there's actually a short video. 5.6 thousand people have liked the video, and there's quite a lot of action on that. I'm not sure if it's but this is on my journal line. Kojo, is this true or this is fake? Because this is on. Is this true?
Bernard, I've seen this.
Is this on its official page?
And for me, I'll go straight to the point and tell people, don't fall for this scam.
Oh, so I'm just but is this on his page?
Yes, I've seen it being shared by all sorts of people.
Okay, because I was just hoping it was one of those.
People should not fall for this scam.
Is it true? So
Even the
story?
story we read said Zallywood is in Kaswa. The things they've been sharing on social media indicate that Zallywood is up the mountains, Ebri. You see the place I've been saying that they've been clearing and it's going to bring us problem. That's the place he's marked. And you actually see
so
that
that's actually true.
He's marked the area into other people's concessions. People should not fall for this scam.
So well, once beaten 100,000 times shy.
You would think. All right. Expect to see lower telco costs, okay?
Yes.
Mobile telecom operators in the country have reduced call and data tariffs to reflect the 4% decrease in the communications service tax from 9% to 5%. The finance minister announced the reduction in his mid-year budget review in Parliament in July this year as part of the COVID-19 relief packages. Following the minister's announcement, the telcos, through the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications, also announced the reduction will reflect in tariffs from today, Tuesday,
Nice.
September 15, 2020, because they needed time to reconfigure their systems for a smooth transition. So look out for that.
Oh, that's good.
That's good news.
Well, so let's get a few other stories coming in quickly. If you go to GNA, they're saying that Ghana can't afford ethnic agitation and sectarian pronouncements. This is the president speaking. And then the NDC running mate says they'll upgrade the Takrady market. That's also an interesting one. So let me bring you that story. The running mate of the NDC, Professor Jinan Opokwa Jiman, has assured the chiefs of Sekondi in the Western region that the next NDC administration will rebuild the Sekondi Central Market to enhance economic activities in the area. There's actually a wrap on campaign activities all over the place. But let's go to other unrelated issues.
Yes, all right. So health experts are rubbishing reports of the polio vaccine harming children. This is on the back page of Ghanaian Times. Recent social media reports alleging that the polio vaccine rather leaves children vulnerable to the virus are totally false, absolutely baseless, and wholly ridiculous, according to Dr. Kwesi Jokoto, Deputy Director of Health in charge of public health in the Volta region. Quote, "It is rather children who are not vaccinated who are at risk," he explained. The social media reports gained prominence prior to the 3-day national polio vaccination exercise, which ended on Sunday. Dr. Jokoto said in an interview in Ho on Friday that the exercise was meant to protect children under 5 against the polio virus type 2. It targeted over 300,000 children in all 18 districts of the region, and at least 50% of the target was covered on the second day of the exercise. So people beware.
That is pretty cool. Nathan, anything else before we go?
Yes, if you go to page 20 of the Daily Graphic, it says the Ghana Standards Authority and the Food and Drugs Authority will begin to implement the harmonization of the activities that are similar in a bid to eliminate existing overlaps in their work and have attendant impact on the industry. Now, they will also help, or the harmonization will also help reduce the cost of regulatory approval and product certification for importers and manufacturers. And the story goes on to detail why they are doing it, a common platform that will help them achieve these targets and more.
I think that's good news. Yeah.
Okay, taking you to the northern region, newly enskined Karaga chief calls for peace. This story says the newly enskined chief of Karaga in the northern region, Abdullah Nantogma, says his subjects to exercise restraint and allow peace to prevail after a chieftaincy misunderstanding. Addressing the people of Karaga from Yendi, Abdul Nantogma said he is the legitimate chief enskinned by the overlord of Dagbon. He's called on the youth who are being used to perpetrate violence to reflect on the repercussions of their actions should matters escalate. And I want to use this opportunity to call on my subjects within Karaga and its environs to remain calm and be law-abiding. Pursue your normal duties and do not allow yourselves to be used to foment trouble. Now, it is recalled that there's been some disagreement over the choice of this person to be the chief of Karaga. After the overlord of Damoyana, Mahama Abdullah II enskinned him as legitimate chief for the area, the regent of the late chief Mahami Sumani also declared himself as chief of the town and took charge of the palace. This brought waves of fear amongst the people as they feared that differences may escalate.
If you go to the BNFT, there's a crime story or related story. It says the National Insurance Commission, in collaboration with the police, has again blown the lid of another unlicensed insurance brokerage firm operating under the name Family Fountain Insurance Brokers.
Charlie.
The company has been operating for some time now as an intermediary with the tacit connivance of a direct underwriting company.
Wow.
The suspect, whose modus operandi is perpetrated at the premises of the Ayalolo Transport Terminal in Accra Central.
Wow.
Have been serving as an intermediary between the unsuspecting insuring public and a non-licensed underwriting insurance company. They are currently under police investigations and they found culpable will face criminal prosecution according to the law.
All right, let's go to Kumasi. We will hunt for robbers and retrieve our guns. The police headquarters has dispatched a team of specialized personnel to reinforce a standby squad in Kumasi with the task to search, retrieve the 2 stolen AK-47 assault rifles, arrest those behind the bullion robbery, and the killing of the cashier for immediate action. The Inspector General of Police, Mr. James Opong Buanu, disclosed this to a reporter in a telephone conversation on Monday. The IGP also revealed that the homicide unit of the Criminal Investigation Department headquarters had taken over investigations into the murder of Professor Emmanuel Yao Bene. According to the Chief Constable, the Director General of CID, Commissioner of Police, Mr. Kenya Boa, personally led a contingent of the homicide unit, crime scene management team, anti-armed robbery unit, among others, to the scene at Ajingano as part of the investigation process which began over the weekend.
Let me end with a text message from a listener. Bernard, I'm watching you live on Facebook. Please mention Ablaje roads. We, the residents of Ablaje, are suffering from bad roads. Enough of East Legon asphalt. Well, that's all we have time for. Thank you, Kokui. Thank you, Nathan. Coming up next is the City Business News. Stay with us.
This is